Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League presented by WTRL, Women's America's East Division 1. We're covering the B category today. The ladies have gotten out on course, just about to start their first sprint. We'll get replays of the first sprint section, and as they head on over to the country sprint, we have broadcasted the EMEA for 4 races today. We'll have 2 races for you tonight for the America's Women and the America's Open as well, both for the B categories. So, Dave, it's been an exciting day so far, and the theme of the first 2 weeks is that nothing's predictable. That is for dang sure when it comes to ZRL and this opening round of season 2023-2024.
I wasn't sure what you were going to say was the theme of the first 2 weeks, and the unpredictability of that was almost now predictable. So, yeah, one thing is for sure, it is a nasty, nasty start on the McCurry 40. The first
I'm not
2K,
looking forward to it. Honestly, I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is going to hurt real bad tonight. Oh, man.
Man, I mean, when you talk about warming up to get out and racing on Zwift, typically you're not warming up to get out and race on Zwift for an hour or more, right? But it speaks to the severity of this start, and then this repetition of 5 sprints. So it's sprint, recover, all the way into what is a relatively long finale. So I'd call this one of the more challenging courses mentally to race. And we were talking about that too earlier in the broadcast, Nathan. Visually, there's a lot of stimulation going on this course as well. It's almost like you're racing on different planets in different times of the day out here.
100%. Yeah, there is tons going on when it comes to the different landscapes that they do go into. So let's go ahead and show a little bit of that landscape up front. We got a little bit of replay for the opening sections. 2 minutes in, about 1K in, right from the get-go. Synergy had 2 riders smashing it off the front. It was Towle as well as Roach to begin with. But then a Sisu rider, D. Maloney, came across actually for just a moment and looked to actually take down the initial sprint section out here today. But it was Synergy and Maloney making the initial moves out here for the initial kicks to the line. So as you can see, Maloney alongside of Roach there. They pushed a solid 4 to 5 watts per kilogram all the way to the top. And were able to outsmart what it looked like the chase coming in from the rest of the pack there with Revo as well as Coalition. The Honeybees were out there as well, and Golden Girls. So that's the situation as it played out for the first sprint. We'll get you the sprint points here in just a moment, but let's go ahead and head over to our live feed as the riders are making their way on over toward the country sprint here in just a moment. And they'll be making their way up over toward the fishing village and then downhill into the reverse country sprint. And it is still a pretty big group of riders making their way around out on course. But looks like Tim Will's out here, actually. Good to see in real life. I believe a triathlete, if I'm not incorrect, coming out of Canada, riding for Aeonian out here today. So I think we do have initial splits taking place. 29th place, so it'll be 28 riders, I believe, that have made the front group. So like you said, Dave, right from the get-go, it's not an easy start for a sprint. For what everyone thought was going to be a sprinter's day, it definitely has plenty of sprints, but there's a lot of attrition out there to get to those sprints.
Yeah, they really put you under pressure if you show up. Very well said, Nathan. It is a sprinter's day, but to get into that day, you've got to get over a pretty major speed bump, that first climb. And I would have to say that Sarah Roach is a rider to watch. I've definitely got my eye on her. I have the feeling that by the time we're doing this next year, she'll be racing up in that A's group. So 28 rider selection being made, coming up pretty quickly on the country sprint. Nathan, it really, after the country sprint, it becomes frenetic out here with Alley Sprint and Castle Park Sprint happening within just a couple minutes of each other. So the next 20 minutes of racing here, a lot is going to happen for this 28 rider front group. I see Aeonian well represented. It looks like they have at least 4 riders in this group. Synergy's been phenomenal. I'd say they're the team of the day today, Nathan, with what we've seen in our previous events.
Yeah, Synergy over and over again have shown that they are the team to be dealt with out here. So we'll see what they can pull off out here today. The Americas men are just about to get out on course. A lot of chatter actually taking place in their race in their race pens at the moment, which is always fun to see. So we'll see how this ends up playing out between them. There's 108 men in the B category pens right now, just to give you an
Awesome.
idea of how many go to show up for the racing out here. Real quickly, we'll give you an idea there. 108,
Wow.
46
Wow.
seconds. There's the pens.
It
Absolutely
looks like the start of
stacked.
Levi's Fondo, to
I
tell
mean,
you the truth.
this is an absolutely stacked field, as you can see. And we're going to have quite the start here. We'll see if we can catch some of it without missing the sprint for the women here. But I have a feeling they're going to come out of here absolutely raging for this B category.
Wow, 100,000 euro worth of smart trainers, right, or virtual smart trainers, right there, all in one spot. So, yeah,
I wonder how much one of those glowing Tron trainers cost. That's a good
they
good
can't be
question
cheap.
there, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't be cheap. That's for sure. So, yeah, Nathan, we were talking about it in the previous broadcast about how the B's and the C's, the numbers, the enthusiasm has been phenomenal as they are off as we get to see them spawn. It's the second time today that we've seen this, and I don't know that I've seen it more than 5 times in all of my esports career. So, really, really cool to be able to watch the start as the riders roll out. This right-hand turn, enter hell at this point for the next 2 minutes at a minimum. These riders are going to be, it's just putting that accelerator down on the floorboard, as there's a lot of incentive to do damage here for the riders that are warmed up and ready to hit out with authority. So there we go, sending the men out on course. But Nathan, if you want to judge the health of esports and the ecosystem that we're in, it's much like the frogs in the pond. You have to look at the key species. And I would say that the women bees, the men bees, this is where we can really tell a lot about the health of esports right now. And things are looking really good. Going back to pick up this FTS and FAL, and it looks like, is that going to be Yvonne?
Yeah, at the front there, I think it was Penner actually that took that down from Abish Synergy. We'll get a replay of it. We weren't able to get the nice side shot that we're usually able to get there, but I believe Synergy was able to accelerate through the pack and grab that with Penner. Is backed off now. Now look at this though, with a very late arrow power up. I think that was maybe just a late hit arrow power up, but is this some continuance here from Roach? Because she continues to try and get off the front, it looks like to me, with Maloney wanting a little bit more of an FTP effort than just
Yeah.
the kicks.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Sarah Roach is highly motivated to have an impact in the first half of this race. And I wondered if that's a game plan from Synergy. Are they planning on using Roach to really do damage in the first half of this race, setting up her teammates? Or is she just that strong? Because you can see her teammate is countering up, and over the top right now. So Synergy firing on all cylinders here. It's early going. Next critical moment comes up at Alley Sprint. That all begins at 16.1 in, and it's a long FTS there as well, almost half a kilometer long when you talk about Alley Sprint. So Nathan, this is where typically we'd seen the riders cooling their jets a little bit in this interval in between Country and Alley, but Synergy, they've been zigging when others zag for sure. Here they go again.
Yeah, a little bit of kick again here. So Synergy continues to press on. Now, real quickly, I do want to jump on over because we're going to make sure to catch this first sprint here for the men here, as the women are going to have a little while to go before they hit the next crucial sections where points will be awarded. The first 2 sections have been awarded, and we'll get the points up on board here in just a second. But T Ryder, I'm thinking that I want to pull something like this later in the night here, but I keep on watching them chased down, and I'm thinking, oh, no one's going to want to chase. No one's going to want to, waste any effort. But the reality is that no one's seeing this as wasted effort any longer. Every point is definitely mattering. And T Ryder, he's not going to be able to hold on. It's going to be Gonsolin from Stages here. Now trying to hold on to the line. He just does it looks like here. The OTR rider. Stages OTR boost. Coming on through in that, what would you call that color there? Is that aqua? I mean, it's just off blue. So it's like
Yeah. Sea foam? Nah, it's not really sea foam either. I'm with you. Duncan Johnson is the rider that we're talking about here. He is a monster, no doubt about it, the OTR man. I'm going to have to think about that question, Nathan, as far as the color goes. But look at this surge coming up on the racer's right-hand side. Things are getting very, very active. So
is this a
it's like,
counter, Dave?
it is
Like
100%. This is unbelievable to see after what they just went through. We talked about it. If you want to impact the race, you don't do it when everybody's feeling good. You do it when they're in the gutter. And that's exactly where everybody is at right now. So the Dirty Ducks making a nice play here as they keep it really, really rugged.
yeah, and Dirty Ducks here up and over the top of Electric Spirit Co. On the downhill sections now. C2 coming on through with Leiden here. It's going to be Ulit there from the Rhinos as well. Simpson from Herd all taking over at the front end of this field, and it is strung out, Dave. There's, it's a little bit of an echelon, but when you start getting into this narrowed down one by one, and you can see exactly why. Look what's at the back here. There's already a split taking place in this open field. And I see about 10 riders doing everything they can to get back on terms. And, I was hearing in the race earlier, I had a race report coming in from Gabriella that really helped me understand the new pack dynamics. And she said she was going for an FTS during that race by going off the back just a little bit. And she almost got dropped because of it. Like just barely, she had to use an aero power up, an extra one, just to get back on terms with the group, and didn't even get the FTSs she was looking for. And so that gives you an idea. You can't sag off the back nearly as much anymore. She went on to break away from the pack, but a rider who could break away and win the race was in a moment where she was almost not in the race any longer because of the way that she was riding off the back there. So you have to be so careful now with the way you can draft, the way you can try and get away. The pack dynamics function in a very different way that can split things real quickly. And not in the same way where they just get away because they're, just rolling along. When people work, it benefits them now.
100%. Yeah, the risk reward ratio has really started to become realistic. It's been Pack Dynamics 4.1 has created a realism that I think everybody is really, really excited to see. So taking a look at this group, Nathan, I mean, when you talk about racing at the B level, this is a very high quality group. Seeing this many riders in trouble, it just says how hard they're going out and how motivated riders are to be in the ZRL at this point. This is the second of 6 races. This is going to go down as a very memorable second race. McCurry 40 that we're at right now. 5 different sprints that lead you into the final out here. But this has been an OSS situation for all categories throughout the day of racing around the globe today for nearly 20,000 athletes. So nobody got an easy day out here today as we take a look at the remaining peloton still together here from this beautiful aerial shot. Nathan, these guys now, next for them will be Country Sprint coming up at 7.3K. So I'd imagine they've got about another kilometer of this before riders start hitting out again. It's going to be one of these kind of days here where you just never really quite get on top of it with riders attacking left, right, and center.
Going through this section here at 51 kilometers per hour gives you an idea how fast this pack can get going. But they are spread straight. Look at this. Everyone's just across the road. Nobody's really putting in any serious work at this moment. So Grupo Compacto, everybody got back on terms. Those initial kicks, I think everybody's said and done with those at this point.
Now is a good time, Nathan, a little bit of a pause in the action to talk about what's been going on with Zwift Community Live. And it's been, again, getting back into the broadcasts here. It's been really fun covering the B fields. And I think we've got plans to cover some C fields in the future as well. And it's a nice time to mention to athletes using social medias to tell us your stories. We love hearing it. And this would be a really good example. I'd love to know more about Duncan Johnson. I'm looking at him. He's a father of 4, Nathan. He comes in as the top Zwift Power athlete in this field, works in the medical field. But I mean, just thinking about, you can relate to that. As a father of 4, he lists his reason for racing esports is just trying to stay in shape. And I'd say he's doing a little bit better than that.
He's doing a pretty really good job.
Yeah.
100%.
If this is just staying in
Breaking down
shape,
and
well, then the rest of the world is behind the eight ball for sure.
OTR Duncan Johnson, good to see. Great job by him. And yeah, definitely the highlights. That's what we live for here. And if you're looking for the updates on what we're going to be covering, looking to learn more about these athletes as we get further into the season, we start updating some of our profiles and things. We'll start bringing some of the athletes in, get some live cameras of what's going on, as well as some more backstory on all of them, because that's really what we live for. And we'll start getting you some updates as well as what's coming for our coverage. Next week, we will have the season. Those will be scheduled out pretty quickly over on ZwiftPower.com, as well as Zwift Community Live. We are doing news posts over there as well with all of the past broadcasts, as well as what's coming up next week. So you can schedule out all your viewing ahead of time and know whether or not you're going to be on the broadcast or your buddies are across another category. The women here now, Dave. What's happening with this next sprint coming up? I think it's around, is it going to be 14 and 16? They head on through an arcade
16,
here.
16.1 is Allie's sprint. But Nathan, for me, this is the FTS that really comes into
the
play.
boys, though. Sorry, I asked you a question at a really poor timing. I apologize.
You did, because look at this. Oh, man. They are getting after it right now, as it looks like at least one rider's opening up a gap, and there's going to be some company. We've got our first real breakaway.
Coming right on by here, though, Dave, and that's not going to hold on. It looks like right to the line. Oh, we just missed it there. It looks like, well, excuse me. Did I miss it? No, it didn't. They're just
coming
fading.
Up.
They're fading so quickly that they're catching
that was the
many.
race into the race. Yeah.
Oh, Kirby trying to hold on. It's raw. I got to get a replay of that. I have no idea.
Wow.
That was the speeds were insane.
Intense. Yeah, I mean, there was a race into the sector that you could see, which is something, I mean, that's another level that we're finding out here in esports right now. There's going to be some damage done, no question. This would be the moment to counterattack, and it looks like even that is happening right now. So it is a three-ring circus, a bike race going on out here as they have just completed the country sprint. There is a bit of a gap now, almost 9K between country sprint and alley sprint. What happens in this 9K is going to be very interesting for the men here, as we still have 32 kilometers. I mean, really, Nathan, more than 45 minutes of racing still remain for these guys. We're just getting going here, and already there's riders taking on water like the Titanic.
Yeah, it really split out the back here, and it's risky even to try. I mean, you go for the sprints that you can, and if somebody counters, just try and hang on, it looks like, is the motto out here today. Amos from Draft, a lot of Canadian flags up toward the front. It's good to see. Harding and Potnode is here as well. D'Angelo from Draft, a lot of super familiar names, as they're about to go on over toward Yokio. Things probably calm down a little bit. There's no splits just as of yet, but if they do calm down, you always got to watch out for that counter to the slowing of the pack if anybody wants to try and get away. With 109 starters, though, Dave, there's got to be at least 80 left in here. I mean, trying to get away from 80 riders is a big, big ask.
It really is. There's a lot of safety in an 80-rider peloton. The ability to heal itself like an amoeba really is true. And I don't think that right now, I don't think anybody wants to take on that amoeba at this point. That'll be coming up, though, in just a few K, as I think the most frenetic moment in the race begins at about 500 meters before the alley sprint. So we'll see what happens there. Over on the women's side of things, that's almost the point that we've gotten to now, as the women were out on course a little bit earlier than the men. So they're virtually racing I guess I'd say around 5K up course. And this women's group is about to go all in here, Nathan. Again, alley sprint it's 400 meters. All the FAL and FTS is in play. But what's really interesting is Castle Park sprint comes up within a K and a half of that. So you go right out of the fire into the frying pan, as they say.
Checking out what's happening here now at the front end at 15.1. They got about 1K to go to that next section we're talking about. This is going to be the America's East Women's Div 1Bs making their way into their third sprint for the day. The current points as they stand, let's see what we've got here as they make their way over. Get a quick little refresh, and it is going to be 53 to Penner, 39 to Dallaire, 23 to Maloney. Candeloro has got 23 tied there for third and fourth. It's going to be Whitaker at 20, Perez at 19, Roach at 18, Gino 17, Tilborn at 15, and Collins has 6 points. That's the current representation out here for America's East and how things stand. Penner doing a really good job for Synergy today.
Yeah, and she's got her teammate Roach backing her up, and that might be right now just a thumbnail sketch, impossible without more data points to know, but it looks like Synergy's off to the start that they were hoping for. That's the light blue jersey up on the front right now. This, again, as we said at the top of the broadcast, has been a team that's made some big strides forward. Great to see that beautiful Sisu kit, one of our all-time favorite teams. And it looks like we got some ZRL championship helmets there as well. Previous ZRL winners on that team.
Not
at least
one. Yeah, I would think at least one. They're very, very strong.
Maybe
team.
even two right there, yeah.
Looking through Delaire here, this is a kit to be watching out for. And she's got a couple of points at 39.
Looks kind of like Bahrain.
Yeah, she's got a great. I love the Rave kit. It's looking good recently. Now
Not
here we
from
got a
that
kick
side,
off the front. Toward the front here, Sisu making a move with Ulrich. Now, arrow early. This has usually been caught because of the speed that comes down the from the draft. And Synergy now going up and over the top. Aba Synergy coming out of Canada. That is going to be Penner again into that 8 watts per kilogram. Can Baloney make the catch? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a battle for second out here. Candeloro almost from ATP. Woo! Aeonian at the last second, but unable to time it. Coalition there with Gino. We'll get that's your situation across the line. We'll get a replay for you of that in just a moment. But nice little try there from a couple of the early attacks. But Penner unable to hold on. Did she hold on to the line just about? I think it was right. It was pretty close.
I'm going to go with yes. And actually right now, Nathan, they're already into the next sprint. That's how quickly we go from station to station out here.
It's a good point. Actually, maybe we'll hold off here for just a second because the reality is that they're heading into the castle. And
there goes Roach.
This Castle Park sprint here, Roach going early, and she sat in. What a tactic here. Sent the teammate off the front to go and grab some points, sat in and waited for the moment they're going to double up here with some
They must
FALs.
have a great director. Yeah, I have a feeling whoever is pushing the buttons behind the scenes there knows exactly what they're doing at Synergy tonight. This would be this kind of racing tells me, Nathan, that they've got a director behind the scenes with this sophisticated choreography that we're witnessing as Sarah Roach is gone at this point now for the next available points. But behind her, there's going to be quite an FTS battle going on as she'll settle into this rhythm. Nathan, I think that this is about FAL. I
think it's starting to get to the point
where
they
let it just go.
I think it's starting to get to the point where they're like, can we just not ride with Sarah Roach anymore? They're like, because it's so difficult to hold on to her attacks and her wheel. Sometimes there's an athlete that's in the pack that disrupts things so much that it's just like, this wrecks everything. Just let her have the points.
If she was living in a college dorm, she'd wake up with upgrade written on her door in the morning. A subtle message from her competitors.
Oh man, good job
for
on
Sarah.
She's killing it. 179 beats per minute. She's working hard. She's working really hard right now. Absolutely suffering. I think she wants to go. I think she wants to go here. Now, 7 seconds isn't quite enough. You see them ramping up behind here. So she's going to get these FALs. The question is if they get within striking distance to shut it down enough. We are seeing tenors. That's going to be 1-2 for them. Golden Girls there with Tilborn. They're going to come through for a third place behind it. It is coming down pretty quickly, and she's gonna pull the plug. Well, 4-4, 4-2.
She'll have company here.
Yep, she's just ramping up to stay with the pack. That's.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also pro. What she wanted to do is make sure that she didn't have such a speed differential that, well, and you can even see that speed differential is always going to hit hard, but she's able to settle back into the top 10 here. Sometimes you'll see riders slide way farther back than, they've done all that work to be off the front. You hate to give up all of that positioning, but a relatively small group right now as Sarah Roach has been brought back into the fold, but certainly showed some real strength out here. And I think that's been the theme of the day for this Synergy squad, not just in this race, but for that team across the board. And now, again, riders going to push the tempo out here. There's no rest for the weary in esports racing. And
We're just backing up to some of the other FTS points here
Yep.
real quickly. Kathy from the Dinos, Mink Smith is there as well. We're seeing Woods Turner, Lupo. So there's a lot going on here with some of the races for the minor placings. I mean, there's a lot of points still up for grabs for FTS if you got a good kick. You know, they're also first across the line all the way down to, I believe, into the 80s. So, you know, watch out for these battles behind. But this is going to be 30 seconds off the main pack now, 50 actually, up to 57. Look at how it slowed, Dave. Look at this. The comparison between what we just saw and this, I mean, just right on down. It's controlled. Nobody's going anywhere just as of yet. And they're gonna just kind of watch each other and see what's happening after they caught Roach, it looks like to me.
Got to think there's some heavy legs in this group, Nathan. And Shisha Sprint doesn't come up for another, let's call it 7K. I would be expecting this kind of tempo now for the next 5 minutes here. So I think all of these riders have been feeling what has been an exceptionally hard 40, well, McCurry 40 so far out here today. Golden Girls, that's a team that's new to me, as taking a look at Tilburn sitting up in this group. I have to do a little investigating there.
Yeah, Golden Girls, I'm unfamiliar with that one. Let's see if we can find some more information, actually, when it comes to... we'll get the sprint points up.
I'm not even sure if you're old enough.
On the league. I know the the Golden Girls. Oh, Dave.
I figure Wisconsin TV, you probably are still showing that late night.
Well, I definitely hung out with my mom and my grandma enough when I was a little kid watching TV.
That would have been a popular show.
You know, I'm the oldest of 4, so popular show. Yeah, for sure. So, that's a late.
It's like, I guess, for non-Americans,
which TV, yeah, Golden Girls. Nobody has a clue, I would think, but this is an America's broadcast, right? So
yeah, and Canadians would be aware of the Golden Girls as well. I think that would be a North American thing. Our Australian friends might be scratching their head, but that kind of culture probably transcends what we're talking about. These are the points from week 1 that we're looking at. It's a 6-week series that we're racing in here for the 23-24 season 1. We started with a scratch race at Rolling Highlands. It was 3 laps of racing for 32K. This is how it all sorted out for the teams that we're looking at right now. These are our B women that we're talking about. You can see the Golden Girls ended up in 7th there with their appropriate jersey, but it was Synergy Fuse. It looks like they're the top team to me so far today, and they certainly proved that last week. Aeonian Blazing Ciclistas were 2nd out there in Scotland. It's ATP for 3rd, the Dinos in 4th, Raveheart 5th, Coalition Infinity in 6th, mentioned Golden Girls in 7th, Revo Gadivas in 8th, Sisu Racing Voita in 9th, and then the... You're going to have to help me on this one. Is that SWAT at XXP,
SWAT, XSP,
Nathan?
Yeah, I'm going to call it SWAT.
Right.
I think it's a good call.
And so that is going to be your top 10 teams after last week. So the points are linear there. The top team this week will also get 20 points. So don't want to project, but the most any team could have would be Synergy with 40 if they were able to go back-to-back with wins out here. So they're past the halfway point, but Nathan, on the guys' side of things, they're just about to enter the Thunderdome, the Watt Dome here, as Alley Sprint and Castle Park Sprint coming up in rapid succession here.
Yeah, it is, and the women are probably going to calm right on down as they head downhill into Urikazi. Now the men are going to take on the next sprints here, but there is a situation off the front. Ogre Larson, 405 watts with 8 seconds. 8 seconds is nothing to wink at. Through this section here, Dave, you know, they're going to kick, and then they're going to kick again. But in between those kicks, there might be a little bit of disruption. Can OTR boost with 6 watts per kilogram over this little punch? Yeah. What's going to happen here with Larson?
Well, it's funny, right as you said 6 watts per kilo, that was going to be my point, is let's watch what she can do as she goes into a steady, what he can do goes into a steady state effort here, as this is going to be, yeah, I mean, it's actually, well, at this point, it looks like we're tipping the scales, as the group is not going to play around with this. They're starting to slowly reel this one in here.
Is it going to happen is the question. Larson up and out of the saddle, 8 watts per kilogram, kicking again, 55, 56. He's got a good kick on him. He's just getting these
juice.
FALs.
Yeah.
3 seconds is the gap here. They're not going to catch him. It's just going to be right to the line. Ned Bowen is there. Oh, man. Here he comes to the line, but not able to hold on. It's going to be Jimenez for the SWAT
Jimenez,
team. Yep.
Yeah, and you have to say, so if you big picture this, I would have to say that Jimenez is probably going to walk away with more points combining FTS and FAL there, as FAL is great. That's the first across the line points. But when you can double dip and get FTS and FAL, as I would believe the Colombian Jimenez did, that's when you're really cooking with gas.
Got a very long time Zwifter, old school, and one of the first streamers to ever stream Zwift, actually, right alongside yours truly, is going to be Casey Shum. CS Tricks is out here in amongst this. I believe he's riding out of the Illinois area, closer to Chicago. So good to see Casey showing up on today. He's participated in just about every.
Casey's got the killer fro, right? There.
Yep, killer fro. Yep, he's got the fro there
with the visor.
He has participated in almost every esports, like major esports event that there has been for in real life. So he is definitely one who knows the game.
Have you met him in real life?
Yeah. Our first ever event in Roanoke. Casey was there. Yep. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, and then from there,
and look at him riding like a boss here in this very competitive B group. So that's legend really status unlocked.
He's definitely legend status. He's actually live over on Twitch. There's actually a really good contingent of Twitch streamers out tonight, which is great to see. I'm seeing a plenty coming in from the Americas. We can actually see his live view here. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. There it is. As he's making his way around out on course. And let's see what this sprint's going to look like from a first-person point of view. Casey giving it all out here. Is he going to win this one for us? He's got the arrow power up. He's got the draft over his arrow power up. That's pretty cool. I like it how he put that.
Like setup.
Yeah, great setup. It looks like he's going to get a good result. Draft's going to end up getting the better of him here. We'll see how his FTS goes. 502 watts at the finish there. It's a good little 5th place, maybe 6th place, and a pretty good FTS effort, it looked like to me.
That's extremely cool, Nathan, that looking at his Twitch broadcast, clearly he puts some serious effort into it. He's got his camera angle just right there. So that is a pro, no doubt. This is a great example of why covering the bees is cool. Getting to meet new people that are part of our community, Nathan. I am really appreciative of you doing this. It's a great initiative. So going back, though, the guys are in the middle of it right now. They've just left the Castle Park Sprint. They're going to be heading over to Shisha Sprint coming up next. That's the 5th and final intermediate sprint for them, as then they'll move into finale mode. Over here on the women's side of things, you can see that they are coming up on Shisha Sprint right now. Next couple of K, Nathan, they'll be entering the Thunderdome.
Yeah, and they are going to be taking on that climb that has been kind of the infamous climb of the day, because it is essentially, like we've said over and over again today, Shisha Sprint reverse. From that point forward, you now are in a scratch race. You've got that as your final FTS. It's your final place to try and get those points that are all about how fast you go through the segment. And then from there forward, all the attacks are the most amount of points you can get is going to be the first one across the line. So Shisha Sprint, that's the last opportunity. But the Festival Harbor climb, it's a solid 2.5, 2.1% gradient. It's not a very sharp climb, but it's just long enough that you can put the hurt on if you attack hard enough through it.
Especially after an hour of racing.
Yeah.
Well, not quite an hour for these men and women are a little bit quicker than I'm giving them credit for.
Yeah,
a long
about
time.
40 minutes. 40 minutes or solid racing. I mean, around that 40-minute marker, enough attacks. You've really burnt a lot of matches, though. You know, if it is a cyclocross style race, it can burn the glycogen down. There's not a lot left, energy left in the tank after 40 minutes of full gas racing.
Well said. So coming up next week is our first team time trial for this season here in 23-24. That's going to be a big day for all of these teams, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, that's when things really start to show who's done the team homework. I mean, you can show up with a lot of strong riders and put on a show if you've stacked the team, but that doesn't mean you know what you're doing in Zwift racing. It
Well,
doesn't mean
yeah,
you know
right.
what you're doing from cohesion, who communicates well. It means you can take some fast
Just means you're
sprints.
strong.
It means you're
Yeah, and
strong. Yeah.
yeah,
And I mean
and
now
I
with
get it.
PB4, you got to have better communication, 4.1 a little bit, but you cover, you kill, you make your moves here and there,
Sure.
you time it right. Trying to have
It
who's
doesn't
going
have
when,
to be
where,
that
how, and everyone's
complicated.
suffering. When you're suffering
Right.
against your teammates, that's a whole nother situation.
So, but to carry on with that thought, Nathan, by the time you get to a team time trial, uh, really strong rider on your team can even do more damage than good if they don't understand how to operate within the context of that discipline. We've seen it go south in a big way for teams who
Look at this,
don't have
Dave.
the
Sorry to
Sarah
interrupt you
Roach.
here, but Sarah Roach is using her arrow power up way before the sprint. She just
Trying to get
completely
this gap.
gambled it. Completely
Yeah.
gambled on it.
So I don't know how much experience Sarah Roach has as an esports racer, but she's clearly got the strength to have fun with this and is absolutely impacting this race as much, if not more, than any other rider out here. At 26.4K out, she's still over 1 kilometer from what will be the next point scoring opportunity. This looks like a bid for FAL, clearly. It's going to be sprint points versus segment points that we're talking about. But that peloton looks like they are full gas right now, is roaring up on her. So this might have been maybe to set up teammates, Nathan?
Maloney continues to be, and it could be at this point. I'd agree there. Maloney here is the workhorse for CISO. I mean, she continues to just shut down everything that Roach is up to up off the front. And a little bit of probably her own advantage that she's looking for to try and grab some points, but at the same time, she has been continually putting in this effort to bring this whole pack back. Is there any Sisu riders here besides herself?
Look for the
though?
white.
That's
Yeah,
a big question because if
there's
there
one
is, okay.
D Maloney right in front of us here. The
So
Canadian.
D Maloney, but besides her, who else? Because D Maloney's the one doing the work.
Right.
Is she just doing the work for everybody? Is my question.
Yeah, it
Looking
doesn't
back,
look like she does have a teammate that she's helping in that group. So, yeah, interesting. Now it's really, we're almost to this every woman for herself out here now.
it looks
Does
like
Aeonian have numbers in this group? It looks like they do. So I think Aeonian is going to look to capitalize here at the next points opportunity.
we haven't had any change up as recently with the points. Let's take a quick look at how they stand. This is going to be it. It's going to be
20
Hunter still.
In just a couple hundred meters, they start the sector here, Shisha Sprint, going from 27.4 to 27.6.
About to open up. There's an arrow power up already, actually, which is a good call,
Starts
actually,
right
I
now.
think, to throw those arrow power ups just a little early to gain some speed into the section if you're looking for FTS. Mercer over the top from ATP. He's going to be coming here. It is for FAL as well as FTS. I think it's going to be a little base behind
It's such a
her,
short
though.
segment.
I
This
think
is going to be the Aeonian rider.
Yeah, Chris.
Timewell. Yeah. So, excuse me. That's Chris Pires that we're talking about there. So the Brazilian Pires is, I think she's going to collect both FTS.
It looked like
and
her
FAL.
timing was really, really well done. She did it. She hit that arrow power just before hitting the segment section, then came over the top of everybody else and took down FAL. That looked like a fastest through.
If only we knew a Brazilian person to help here, because I'm thinking that you'd pronounce that name Cristina Perez. It's Pires, but I'm thinking the Portuguese, that might be the Portuguese Perez. What does Gabby say?
Maybe. Yeah, we'll have to get her in here. Maybe she can do some commentary with us. And I'll be in Portuguese, though.
That's okay.
Portuguese.
It's the most romantic language in the world, as James Taylor says. So, all right. This is going to be synergy, pouring it on now, Nathan. We're down to, let's call it 12K to go, but it's pure racing from here on in. It's just points waiting at the finish line. No FTS, no FAL. Well, one major FAL. First woman across the line will collect 40, or first man in their case, as the guys will be coming up pretty quickly on the Shisha Sprint themselves. They're not that far back.
Yeah, and this has been their forte all day long. They have been pulling these where over and over again on these attacks. Stacy Guttle, coming in from Broken Spoke here in one of the chase groups with Catherine Salvatore. I know a couple of these people.
The
Stacy rides.
Gettles.
Yeah, she rides for Vision. She rides for Broken Spoke, but rides as a coach client for Vision actually. And Stacy's out here hammering away, coming out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And she races in the War Series locally, actually here as well. I didn't know
Good
that
for
we were
her.
covering her race out here tonight. So good for her hanging out here with the Rave team. She jumped on Team Rave last year and was in just like, I want to get involved in that Zwift racing thing that you're doing. Let me know what's up. And I was like, well, here's a couple of teams that are really cool. I mentioned a bunch of the women's teams that I thought that would be a good vibe for where she was coming in as an introductory team, and Rave took her in, and now she's hammering away out here for these FTSs and FALs. Good for
It's
her.
amazing how quickly you see women really, really engage with this community and start having an absolute blast racing. On the flip side of things, Nathan, I've also seen women from Zwift show up in real life for the first time and have some incredible results to back up all the hard work they've been doing on the Zwift platform. Alexi Snover comes to mind. We were racing basically in this group just a year ago. So it really is
Paige
encouraging.
Onweller as well. Paige Onweller in the
Yes.
Lifetime Grand Prix scene. She's also another a big Zwifter and did her first races in real life. And all of a sudden, bam, she had a result at a Lifetime Grand Prix, and now she's on the circuit. So
Didn't Paige, for a period of time, was racing with Nikki Cranmer's 2024 program,
she
right?
may
Before
have
she,
been, yeah, maybe.
I believe she had a quick stop, a cup of coffee there before her Trek sponsorship worked out for her. She's a really fun athlete to follow as well. On the women's side of things here in North America right now, there are so many great stories to follow and some new ones to follow as well with our pride and joy, Gabby.
Well, look at this. Here we go. Dave Garage here. Dave Garge, sorry, Dave Garge, CRCF Foundation. He's over on YouTube, it looks like, from what we can tell. And he's making his way into the climb. They're about to start it officially here now, as this is going to be into the Shisa Sprint. And is this the front group still, Dave? Is this really the front group? This is all together with 50, 60 riders? Nobody is going anywhere. No leash being given on this race.
Yeah, at that really, look at the depth. We started with 108. It's not only quantity, it's quality of field that we've got here in this group. But this one should put some sting in the legs, no doubt about it, as we very quickly come up on the Shisha Sprint. It starts at 27.4. You can see the actual start proper with the green dashes across the road. This one goes by in a blink of an eye out here, Nathan. And as you said, they come into this one really hot as well. This is the last chance you've got to pick up FTS points along the way here. And those
Ned
points
Bowen,
really are the difference makers.
really watch out for that Ned Bowen. He's got a good kick. We'll see what he can do over the top here of the climb. His Electric Spirit Co. They are ramping things up at the front, completely taking over, which is really interesting to see. They've been doing that a lot actually throughout the entirety of this race, just making things hard on the rest of the riders rather than letting them just set up here. Marblehead now out of the US of A here toward the front, as he's going to be in that Electric Spirit Co. kit. You can see in the creamsicle, as we like to call it. They're about to take the turn here, Dave, and this comes up pretty quickly. One last little 5% gradient, and then they are going to be right on into it.
Just look at the back of this group with multiple riders peeling off here. It shows you that this is a faster tempo than one might think. As here we go. Oh, wow. Look at this coming right up through the middle. Superman.
Is that a Rhino? A rider coming from team the Rhinos, perhaps? Or who's off the front there? That's going to
That is a Rhino. It's Ouellette, I believe, the Canadian.
Oh, excuse me. No, BPCC, it looks like. Trying to make a move. That's a really early attack, though. I'm not sure that's going to go much of anywhere. It's got to be for an FAL if he was
threw a spanner in the works. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, this is Moreno here from the Rhinos. And then right from the back here, Baumgartner from the
David Moreno
team.
This is the Colombian rider who came in highly touted, but going up and over the top, it's going to be the Dirty Duck Gardner.
continuing to just make this pace so incredibly hard. But there's sprinters who are sitting in. You can see the socks, the fire socks kicking now from the back for those FTSs. Gardner here trying to hold on for some FAL. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it. The sprint section hasn't even started yet. You can see the green banner on the left. There's
Starts
the
in
Arrow Power
about
up
50
right
meters.
now.
There it is.
Marino
Watch
and
what happens behind
Mahara.
them. These are
And-
ducks on a pond, Nathan, if you ask me. Watch this now behind them. See everybody throwing up their arrow power up. That is the power up du jour. Look at the speed, but they're going to run out of real estate very, very quickly here.
Moreno, look at the spin to win from Moreno. That cadence is insane, but it's going to be D'Angelo followed up by Jimenez. The Colombians, 2 Colombians, first and third there, it looks like.
Viva Colombia.
Casey Shum able to hold down, I think, for a 5th or so. Nice job on him. Now, will there be a break is going to be the big question because now it's FAL, and there's a big split here. I would be pressing the pace. If there was a team if I had teammates up here, I would be smashing the pedals right now if I could. If anybody had anything. Dirt's got 2, Draft's got 2. We've seen a couple of others up here that's got some numbers, I believe. Let's see, what other teams? OTR's got 1. Is there the right team makeup at this point to try and press on?
Sadly, no. When you look at it, Nate, the draft is if the 2 draft riders were sitting up near the front of this group, it might change my opinion a little bit. But the way things are positioned, the vibe is to me is that these guys are going to just neutralize each other at this point. But I've been wrong more than I'm right. That's for sure. And we'll see what happens behind them. They've got a long way to go. So remembering here for the men, they are at 12K of racing with no features left. They do have one more opportunity to pick up a power up. So most of these guys are going to be sitting on, but that catch is being made as we marry these 2 groups together here, Nathan. Hit the reset button one more time here for the guys as they move into the last chapter of this race. I don't know about really hitting the reset button, though, to tell you the truth. That group looks a little smaller. And you can see that split back to group number 2 now. Looks like maybe 10 riders sitting in a chase group here. They got some work ahead of them. So watching now as this group looks at the final 10K of racing. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on Zwift Community Live as we get an opportunity here to watch 2 thrilling finales. The women a little bit further up course. We've talked about that small kicker. It happens right at 39.6K in. So we'll see if anybody uses that as a launch pad. We're still quite a ways away from that, actually. And it looks like the tempo for the women has backed off significantly as they're going to be sitting in the mid-2s as far as watts go. So looks like everybody really chilling their engines down right now, trying to reload after what's been a tough. I mean, we are into 50 minutes of racing for that group.
Yeah, and it looks like, Dave, this a lot of splits have taken place now at this point. I mean, look at how blown up this is.
Yeah, the race is
fractured. Totally fractured. That was group 4, 3. Now this is group 2. Then there's a couple of no woman land here situations as they got dropped off from the main pack. Because I think the attacks are on now, knowing it's an FAL situation. D. Maloney and Roach, they've been our instigators all race, and now they have splintered it yet again, Dave.
So you can give those 2 women absolutely the credit for the reason why this group is down to, that's not even 20 riders. That looks like it's not even 15 riders at this point. So those 2, Roach and Maloney, have been sensational riding for Sisu. In the case of D. Maloney, Sarah Roach, does Sarah have 1 or 2 teammates here? It's 1 teammate in this group, if my eyes are getting a correct read here. That's the coalition squad that we're talking about. Actually, it's 2, isn't it? There are 2
Synergy, I think
3
Roach's
synergy riders.
Yeah, Synergy. Yeah, gotcha.
So 3 synergies here, and that to me, 2 Aeonians in the group. But unfortunately for Dee Maloney, as you noted a few kilometers ago, she's the only Sisu rider. So even though she's been an impact racer, she doesn't have any teammates to back her up. And in WTRL's ZRL, It's not just one strong rider that can get it done for you. Even if she goes on to ultimately win this race, you're always going to need teammates collecting points as well.
Yeah, taking a look at the current situation, we've got is that going to be White there from Level Up there? Maloney, Sisu, Honeybees are there with Jones. The Bee Juicers from M Dinos. Chris is from Ionian. Abus synergy with Penner. So Penner is there for Abus synergy. HL is there for synergy. As you said, Dave, they've got two others. And then Roach is in there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they can pull off.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly credit to Synergy at this point for just quality has its own quantity. That's for sure. And they are right now the queens in that category. The M Dinos, the Bee Juicers rider, that's a new team to me.
Yeah, I like
when I heard you say
here. I'm trying to figure this one out.
Well, when you said bee juice, I thought you meant honey.
yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing here, but we'll see if we can figure something out about the this team. And the name may have been changed.
I hoped you meant honey,
here.
right? Yeah.
So, because I'm not seeing an update at this moment for them, but they are part of the drafting dinos. Judy Hay,
actually,
Kathy Collins, Netta Dinos. I think this is going to be Netta Dinos, perhaps. Netta Dinos, perhaps. I'm trying to get a read on this. Megan Hill's there as well. We've got Kelsey Ritter riding for them, and then Marcy is in there for the WTRL Dinos Bee Juicers. So that's the situation. That might be the reason why they're named Bee Juicers is because there's something to do with honey. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but it's always some sort of animal thing going on here with the drafting dinos.
Or what other juice out of Canada is well known? Maple syrup, I guess.
We're probably so far off.
I know. I realize that at this point. Just go ahead and push the pause button on that whole conversation.
Let us know what's going on with the bee juicers, please. Like, what is this all about? We're trying to find out here.
Well, Nathan, I remember, going back a couple of years ago when we identified that the very best, the cleverest of team names don't come out of the A's. They come out of the B's or the C's. I haven't had anyone argue that with me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I completely agree with that. So looking at this, though, a team that might be taking things real seriously, ATP, they're always in the mix, aren't they, Dave? They are always in the mix and ready to fight. And they came into this one, the ATP Racing Honeybees. That's their name, actually.
Right, and you can see, don't they have that little honey jar tucked into their jersey pocket?
They do. Jim Withers.
Yeah.
And the
Good old
Honeybees.
Jim Withers.
Love it. ATP Racing Bees. They were third coming in at 18 points into this second race of this first round. So in the league standings, Aeonian Blazing Cyclistas were in second, and then Synergy Fuse, who've been the dominating force so far today as well, they were in first. Now the Dino Bee Juicers, they're actually in fourth place right now. So they've got something to fight for here. Good to see.
They sure do. And I don't know. I just have a feeling with the team time trial coming up next week that there's going to be a huge benefit for the teams that have been putting in their work there. And it just feels like the Canadians are one of the teams that has been doing that. That's going to be, I believe, is that the CRCA jersey that we're looking at? The yellow jersey here on the
off on the front there. The one on the front there. That is the CRCA.
I see.
That is.
It's a Century Road Club of America. That's one of the original OG, just outright cycling clubs, and a club that's near and dear to our hearts. As a lot of the founding members of Zwift have spent time riding for that club or is part of the family, for sure.
Something I just want to highlight here real quickly about this standings board is that the Dino Bee Juicers, it looks to me that they have a new in-game kit. And sometimes whenever you see in our broadcast, if our Zwift has not updated, you just get a pure orange kit if it's not showing the kit that is actually
that's
on
the default
rider. That's the default
kit.
So I just want to say, oh man, I really am. I'm hurting a little bit here that we're not getting to see the drafting dinos because they're such a part of this community and this and these broadcasts that we're gonna try and make sure that we try and grab you that jersey for next week if we do have you in any of the C broadcasts. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the dinos were hanging out in the C category. So good to see the B
And the
Juicers out here.
Dinos,
I'm glad they
and the
got their kitten
Dinos,
game.
yeah, agreed, Nathan. And the Dinos deserve credit for spending a lot of time on Thursdays doing the WTRL team time trials. So we'll see if that benefits them as much as they're hoping it will.
Moves are
Boy,
being
it
made
looks
here,
like,
Dave.
yeah,
Starting to
here we
ramp it
go.
up.
And guess who? It's the same boss as the old boss, as we're back with Sarah Roach and Dee Maloney. These two attacked this race with old school fury as we rolled out of the start pen. That would be an hour ago, and the same two women are back at it now. It's flat here, but I think as soon as it pitches up, they're going to try to do more damage. They've got this group strung out from tip to tail right now. Sarah Roach has been a consummate teammate, and look at this now as it looks like her teammates are going to try to take advantage of the work that she's been doing. Penner has been phenomenal. One of their main adversaries is going to be Yvonne Timewell here, the Aeonian rider, who's moving up to the front. So, Nathan, we're rapidly running out of real estate. That launch point that we talked about coming up here, the small kicker is in the next K.
Yeah, Mort here now also coming from the Vegan Coalition. See Mort as she makes her way to the front, covering and killing anything that's trying to go off. And Penner now back to the back here. The honeybees there with, is that going to be Jones? See Jones here toward the back as well. It's always that risk reward that you speak of, Dave. It's whether or not you take the poles toward the front or you sit in and trust the wheels that are in front of you. There's been some riders, I think, like Chris from Aeonian, that has been doing exactly that. We saw her take down that sprint, but we don't see her stick her nose in the wind very much, do we, Dave?
I'd like it, though.
Over
to tell
and
you the truth.
over again, she has just been really. I've just been picking up on that.
That's
Out of all these riders, it's one you see at the front at the right moments, but only at the right moments.
well said. And I mean, that really, in a nutshell, is what bike racing is all about. Keep yourself out of the wind until the only moment it matters, and then have the ability to be explosive and dynamic. That's how you win bike races. That's the mental aspect for sure. And that's the Brazilian flag that you see. You see the name Chris. The last name is Perez. I'm going to go with that. It's Pries. But this Brazilian rider is showing a lot of savviness to me, Nathan. And even though she's sitting at the back of the group right now, I think she's perfectly positioned here.
Yeah, her and Penner here leading the points right now, and that's exactly why. You might see a lot of work here on the front from some of the other teams, but what matters at the end of the day is who's across the line first and fastest. And so far, it's been Penner and Perez, followed up by Gino there. So that's the situation out on course. Synergy now leading things out, though, at the front, as you can see. Now, Synergy, though, in the scratch race were real tough, but on a points day, we'll see if they can win out here. Perez here toward the back. Is she getting caught out, or is she playing it really, really smart? There's actually no arrow power up from her just yet. Now, finally using it here.
She's holding it because
she's holding it. She's actually holding it. There it is.
There it is. Now she makes the play. This is perfect. Watch. She's going to be one of the very few riders that's going to go from strength to strength here. Her power up is going to take her underneath the arch where she can reload. Most riders have lost that power up. Watch her now as she just perfect. So this is really beautiful riding. She's exactly where she needs to be, sitting fifth wheel now, but she's on the right side of that split. She is using every single rider like a frog going across a pond on lily pads here. But now the challenge is coming from ATP. It is on like Donkey Kong, Nathan, as we go into the finale here for the B women today.
Last little kick to the line here. There's a little punch here, and then it's a roller coaster down. Did she time it just perfectly with this arrow power up to come up from the top, or is this going to be a walk away? There's not a lot of gallop left here. Is it going to be able to happen? Here comes the arrow power up, but no, it's going to be Penner. Penner here. Penner makes it happen. Mercier here from ATP. It looks like Chris from Aeonian has to settle maybe for a fourth. We'll have to take a look back at the results. Not bad at all.
No, but it looked like a day for Synergy. They didn't miss a beat out here today between Penner and her teammate Sarah. They both were, well, the entire squad was exceptional. The men now moving into their finale. So they're already at 36.7K in. We still have women out on course as well, and there's critical points still back in this group. So things are far from decided in either race, although we already do have a podium to present for our women's race. I don't know which race to watch, to tell you the truth here, Nathan, as the front end of the men's race has got, it looks like a tiny bit of a split going on. The women, though, these points are going to be critical as they try to back up the hard work that their teammates have done earlier in the day.
Yeah, it looks like in the men's race, we've got about 4 kilometers to go. Contreras and Moreno are off the front here for the men's race. In the women's race, we've got a sprint up for the minor placings behind 10th place here at this moment. So the split up ahead here with Contreras trying to break away. We'll watch a quick little kick here coming in from Contreras. Back in with the ladies, though. Excuse me on that there, as we're going to just hold off here for our top 20, and then we'll get back right in with the men here in just a second. Top 20 for the women here. Gina from Coalition here leading things out. Then it's going to be Richardson there from Ionian up over the top, trying to hold on for the second place in this field sprint. But now leading
Lisa
her teammate
Ulrich.
up, perhaps Ramirez. Ulrich there is there from Sisu. Still Sisu trying to come over the top. Really late power up here coming in from Freya. James here riding for Team Freya up over the top. That's that roller coaster we've been talking about over and over again. But our Gino, is she just going to lead it out from the get-go and right over the line? She does exactly that. Hole here from Synergy is going to now ramp it up for the rest of the field sprint. That was the situation there for your top 20. Last places. Now we're jumping in with the America's men's.
All right. So this is going to be, let's call it a little over 3K of racing for the guys. That roller coaster finale that we've been watching, clearly, if you can get that right, there's a lot of Zwift craft that comes into play here. Or if you've got the Zwift craft, it makes a big difference here. As watching these two, Nathan, sitting on 13, 14 seconds, OTR looks like they're going to lead up the chase. I still have no idea what to call that color. I guess it's green.
That's an interesting one. I don't either. I have no idea either.
Teal.
I have no clue. Teal. There we go. Teal. Teal is a good call. Are these guys going to get caught? They sat up and started looking at each other. They're attacking each other, Dave. They're attacking each other over and over again at the front here. Marino and Contreras, and they backed off to 3 watts per kilogram for a moment, and then they brought it back 7 seconds in that little bit. And now Moreno's going again. What is with his RPMs? 155.
It looks like he's in fast forward mode. When but clearly, I mean, he must be using a 24 front chain ring with a 36 in the back to get this kind of leg speed. As we're taking a look at Moreno, this is the Rhino. That's one of the Colombians that we're looking at. Contreras, the Costa Rican rider here, holding on to this gap. But it's gone from 14 seconds down to 7 here in the last 500 meters. So they're giving up a lot of time right now to a motivated peloton, Nathan.
Yeah, and at 8 seconds here, I'm not sure. Is it going to be able to come back? Isn't Peloton going to bring this back together? We saw the survival over and over again. Moreno now back off. Contreras is able to do it.
About 2K of racing remaining. This is a tough one to call.
Yeah, this is a really tough one to call, but I think they're going to ramp up here out of the pack. 4.2 watts per kilogram Moreno. If Moreno has that kick again, though, it'll be interesting to see. As this Rhino here, 140 RPMs. Is his? I mean, his cadence and his
That's
heart.
a
I think
little
his heart
high.
Rate his heart rate is just stuck. I have a feeling it's broken. His heart rate's broken.
I think we're looking at some kind of glitch.
Yeah, something's going on here. I'm not sure exactly what's happening with the Rhino here, but
hey, I'm all for a high cadence. I think that about 20 years ago or so, people recognized that increasing the cadence is going to help, but this is over the top.
Yeah, a little bit. But we'll see if he can hold on to the line here. Contreras is having a tough time.
Very un-Rhino.
181 beats per minute right now trying to do. He's also at some crazy, what is going on with these guys in their spin the wins here? It's an interesting situation. Yeah.
About 1K to go. So Nathan, I think you were hinting on, I think that you thought they were going to make it. I think you might be right at this point.
They'll make it to the line. They'll make it to the line. That's that. But I have a feeling they might have some looked into just a little bit.
We might have to review that.
Yeah, just a little bit. But Steven's here now across the line. It looks like he's going to do it for Team CLS. Will it from the Rhinos? Then it's going to be O'Hara D'Angelo. And behind him, it is going to be our man from Gansulin, OTR Boost from the get-go was one of the riders I would call most aggressive out there. So nice job by him coming through for 4th. That's the situation right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at our results though in just a second here. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, I have a feeling McCurry 40 is going to become a very popular race course after what we witnessed here. It's always nice to have a chance in the ZRL to highlight courses. And I would have to say that this season has been laid out really nicely. You know, starting with the scratch race last week in the Rolling Highlands of Scotland. This was a great way to back this up with some tactical racing for sure. Next week, team time trial at Roule Mapoule, the perfect team time trial course. So that's going to be Angela Roberts coming across the
This
line.
is the A category.
The A's,
yeah,
right?
and we might as well. I mean, wow.
Why not?
Look at that.
What's amazing,
Angela Roberts.
well, what's incredible is that Virginia Blue Ridge isn't first or second out here today. This was a big, the Empire strikes back, as they say. It's Aeonian getting the win.
We got to get M. Nyquist.
I wish I could have watched this.
Yeah, what happened? Oh my gosh.
And how
Somebody
about
hopefully stream this. Really. Maybe Annie Poland might have because she's a streamer. Sometimes she streams.
Emily Nyquist coming on strong as well, Nathan. She is a rider to give full props to. The Riot rider KK, Kristen Kolchinsky in for third. SS, summertime. OTR rider picking up a fourth. Rachel Lieberman in for fifth. Megan Kelly sixth. Angel Martin seventh. Jennifer Reel there in eighth. Annie Poland for ninth. And Lauren Babineau in 10th. It also says something to me, Nathan, is every one of those names is recognizable in that race. They all have a history with esports. So we're starting to get to the point where we have usual suspects, without a doubt.
100%. I'm really looking through here and seeing if we have.
That must have been a hell of a race.
Annie Pullen streamed it looks like. So if anybody's looking to find that, I definitely want to. I'm going to watch that back and maybe put it in our write up as well, because that is something happened there. Something.
I want to reiterate, though, Nathan, that I'm grateful, and I know I've gotten a few messages today from folks saying thank you for covering the bees today.
Oh, of course, not to take anything away from that at all. Just these are familiar battles that we're like, what happened? Because not what maybe was always expected, right? And so, and Roberts did a post the other day. It was a good one. I thought about sharing it, but it was just straight up her, like her quads and the squats she was doing to get them. And I was
she's
like,
a
whoa,
cool woman.
She is after it. Like seriously, like after it.
Agreed. So it's a good problem to have when racing is so fun and cool that you can only watch one at a time. Or actually, we even watched two great races and we still didn't get to watch this one. I will be very, very happy to continue to have that problem.
100%. Well, in the B category, Tiffany Penner makes it happen for Synergy Fuse. And as we said, Christina Pierres, don't sleep on her. Aeonian Blazing Cyclistas. Then it's going to be Randy Gino for Coalition Affinity. ATP Racing Honeybees, Katie Candeloro. It's going to be Christy Delaire from Rave Heart. Deidre Maloney for the Sisu Vuelta. And then Brittany Mercier for ATP Racing Honeybees. Carolyn DeFore is in there for ATP Racing Honeybees as well. Sarah Roach for Synergy Fuse. And then Yvonne Timwell for the Aeonian Blazing Cyclistas. That's the situation that went down in the B category. What do you think?
Just realizing D Maloney is Deirdre Maloney there. I was wondering what happened to D after all of that. She had to have the points, but that's Deirdre. So that all makes sense. Good job by the Sisu Racing Vuelta rider. Carolyn DeFore back as well.
In the C category, Dave.
Let's take a look. Valerie O'Brien was in Fuego, it looks like. And, well, there you go. Speaking of the great names, Glinda Waring on the Dino Sassosaurus. I love the name, Glenda. So nice job, ladies. She'll end up in second. Top three All-Americans today is Paige Hayden Lutz is third for the Coalition Eclipse team. It's Chantel Druce in fourth for AHDRL. That's the Australian Hump Day Ride team, the Cherry Bombs. Shirley Vagar, the Canadian, in fifth for Synergy Ignite. In sixth place, it's Callie Goff for ATP. Seventh is Sarah Dummich Abbott for Combative Betties. France Dion of the Aeonian Super Chicas in eighth. Jennifer Nicholson for ATP Racing Swarm in ninth. And then Zoe Roberts, another one of the Sassosauruses there in 10th.
In the D category, we've got Jack Cat for On the Rivet Llama Stay. It's going to be Sarah Hoffman for her to Blazing Bobcat. Sarah Z there for Dino Stego. Kim Dubord for the ATP Racing Bumblebees. Anna Wood for the Blazing Bobcats. Pina Miski for Rave Party. Heidi Van Leuven for ATP Racing Bumblebees. It's going to be Mary Quevedo for Z-Sun Struck. Rina Frasella on the Rivet Lameste. And Ladine Unser. That's the Dinos Veloci. So that is the situation as it played out on course. We can take a quick look here at how things then stand. We'll get an update on these right now. And let's head on over to the A category quickly. And we'll push to number 1. And look at that. A big swap up here, Dave. Like, that's huge that Ione Dynamis took over the top spot.
Virginia Blue Ridge must have had some type of issue today with riders showing up as they, I'm going to guess, don't score team points today, which tells me that they just didn't have enough starters. And assuming that what I'm looking at is correct, which I have every reason to believe it is, that would be the case. They must have just had to scratch too many riders today, which is hugely disappointing for KK and her team.
Yeah, I wonder, or perhaps maybe it needs to. We'll have to wait and see. I'll have to wait and see what's going on with that.
I think I'm making a good guess, Nathan.
I think you are. I think you are. Yeah, I think you are. We'll have to wait and see what, because there's a lot of the riders still racing in real life and maybe struggling to put together a team here. So too bad to see.
Well, exactly. Like a good example, right? Well, you just said it perfectly. Is that, she would have had a teammate that was racing in Wisconsin, maybe a little bit of trouble getting back home. Who knows what the case might be?
Mm-hmm. There's a situation with the A's in the B category, though, after the Synergy Fuse accident ends up at the top again. Interesting enough there.
Yeah, they're going to keep a perfect score going through the first 2 weeks of racing. Again, 6 weeks make up the season here. Team Time Trial coming up next. Then Temples and Towers, a points race. Tour of Two at Well, a scratch race for the 4th, and then Temples and Towers for the 5th, leading into the 6th and final race, which will be Greatest London Flat and a Team Time Trial out there. But they've got a long way to go, Nathan. Aeonian sitting in 2nd right now, ATP in 3rd, Coalition 4th, Dinos in 5th, Golden Girls 6th, Raveheart 7th, Sisu in 8th, Revo Godivas in 9th, and then I Race Like a Girl sitting in 10th.
That's the situation for that B category. And then the update with the C's, Coalition Eclipse, they're 38 points. Can be Synergy Goodnight. They're 37 points in 2nd. ATP Swarm, they're tied for 3rd and 4th here between them and their sister team, ATP Racing Hive. The Dino Sassisaurus with the new kit in 5th place at 32 points. ATP Racing B, a lot of ATPs in this one. In 6th place there, AHDRL, Cherry Bombs in 7th, Herd of Otters. In 8th, Aeonian Super Chicas and Epic Vixies. That's 9th and 10th place. D category.
A big day out on the McCurry 40 today. I'm sure a lot of riders are going to be happy to put this one behind them, as it's not often that you spend an hour racing in esports here in the modern era now. So I wouldn't call it the Queen's stage of this event, but one of the tougher days it's nice to put in the rearview mirror.
Well, there it is for the D category. Herd of Blazing Bobcats on the River Llamas Day, ATP Bumblebees, Vixtrix, Dino Velocio, Z-Sun Struck, Dino Stego, Rave Party, Herd of Bounty Bobcats, and Revo Kit Kats. On the men's side, let's take a quick look at the B category and how things went down. And it is going to be Duncan Johnson that did take down that top spot, Dave.
All right. Yeah. Duncan Johnson backs up his top ranking with another solid performance out here. Got to give CLS the big rigs a shout, though, as we take a look at Johnson on top of the table with 114 points. But then Steve Connor and James Stevens, exceptional job, guys, as they'll be 2nd and 3rd today for CLS. Casey Schum, still strong and absolutely, as we talked about him during the broadcast, he's not only a legend, but he's still an impact racer. So the Dirty Watch, the originals rider in 4th is Casey Schum. Ned Bowen for 5th today for Draft B. On the Rivet Boost has Taylor Gonsolin in 6th. It's Juan Pablo Jimenez for the SWAT team in 7th. It's Mark Murawoski for 8th. He rides for the Dirty Ducks. Draft B has Derek D'Angelo in there, the Canadian, for 9th. And then David Moreno, another one of our Colombian riders for the RR Rapid Rhinos, takes the 10th most points out here. they'll be then taking those points and combining them with their teammates to find out what their team's placing was here on the second of 6 races here this season.
Nice job today. And let's take a look at the B category for the league standings after this second round. It's going to be On the River Boost taking down the top spot. Team CLS Big Rigs, followed up by Draft B. That's a tie, actually, there for first and second between Team CLS Big Rigs and On the River Boost. Draft B in third. Dirty Ducks B in fourth. SWAT in fifth. It's going to be G88 Costa Rica in sixth. Herd of Mad Mustangs in seventh. RR Rapid Rhinos in eighth. And Dirty Watts, the Originals, in ninth. OTE Cyclopaths, they are sitting in 10th place. That's what we had for the coverage today. I do want to highlight Velocio having a good time here over in the A category, but not just winning outright up against Alpha Collective, SWAT, and HTFU. So next presented by Shore to AE here, needing to getting a little bit of competition for them, it seems. So this looks like it's heating up here for America's East. For the men, real quickly for the C category, just to give a highlight, it is going to be Herd of Trusty Steeds, the TSC X-Force, RR Nuclear Rhinos, Dirty Grinders, and Dirty Dogs. Herd Mentality, RR Rowdy Rhinos, ZTBR Pataxo, and then Crushing Limits, 1 watt at a time in 9th end. Zed Sunderdome, that's going to be in 10th place. You know, the D's did a little bit shorter course out there, Dave. It looks like the Rocket Rhinos, they are in the top spot.
Yeah, and it ended up being ATP Racing Flooring in second with 30 watts underrated third. Eat Dirt After Dark fourth. Herd of Racing Chupacabras were in fifth. Herd of Plowing Percherons in sixth. Lewatts Brothers D seventh. Sisu Racing Hanhi in eighth. Bemore Rebels D in ninth, and then the Zed Sun Bums in 10th for our Ds. So nice to have them done and dusted.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in out here today. That's going to be it for our coverage for round number 2 of the Zwift Racing League 2023-24. A lot more coming at you. There's a lot going on in the background, everybody. Be on the watch out for the next news post. Head over to ZwiftCommunityLive.com. Sign up. You can become a member over there of the website. And anytime you do become a member, you get updates anytime we put out some news about new broadcasts that have been coming up, as well as those that we have had, as well as race reports that are going on over there. So head on over to ZwiftCommunityLive.com. The wrap is coming up this Thursday. We've got some great topics. We've got workout of the week, as well as Coach's Corner. So lots of stuff happening there. We've got SZR tomorrow. We've got Z Racing on Monday. And we've got some really, really cool stuff that we can't even talk about yet coming up for the later in the season that have some pretty big Palmares around it. So be on the watch out for that, and really excited for everything that we're going to be broadcasting through the whole Zwift season. I'm going to be live in 1 hour, actually sooner than that, because I'm going to do a bunch of Zone 2 before I get on the bike and a bunch of Zone 2 after, because Zwift racing season is just starting for me now, and we got some in real life racing to come as well. But Dave, last thoughts on today's racing. Like you said, it's kind of echoing in my mind. McCurry 40, it's got a little bit of everything, and I think people had a lot of challenges that were always really different out there. Like in the same way that the landscape and the way the scenery looks, there was always something a little different coming at you when it comes to the course too.
Couldn't agree more. The thing about racing for me, Nathan, is it's always about what's next. And coming up for us is the team time trial. There's going to be a lot of riders that are going to be very nervous coming into this one. And if there's ever a time, they say that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And I have a feeling that some teams who've been doing their work on Thursdays are going to find that luck will follow. So it's going to be fun to watch.
You know, and you got till tomorrow to sign up. TTT, go get your TTTs in. Thursday, TTT, get on it. Because if you don't do that, good luck. That's what I got to say. If you've never done a team time trial yet, good luck. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Oh, go ahead, Dave. I
was going to say, as they say, God be with you if you don't want to do your practice work.
Yeah. Virtually. You think it's tough in real life? Imagine virtually trying to figure that one out. So,
it's
all right,
brutal.
Everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks a lot for tuning in. SCR tomorrow, so don't miss it. As always, for me and Dave, right on.
see your perfect imperfections. Don't hide from bad feeling, 'cause they just want your words. I won't let them take me. No, I won't let them break me. No one on this earth can bring me down. Now I'm standing tall. I won't ever fall. Concentrate on the tightrope. The hope that you make it through to the other side. Be who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Oh, 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 oh. Be who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Oh, 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 oh. Be who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Oh, 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 oh. Be who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Oh, 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 oh. Let them see your perfect imperfections. Don't hide from bad feeling, 'cause they just want your